Hey, so my name's Chris Bogus, and this is my first YouTube video. I decided to make a YouTube because I wrote a book, and this is one of the ways apparently that you need to promote it. I originally, well, how this started is sort of interesting and random, which is pretty much kind of how I guess I've lived my entire life. Sort of interesting and random. I do have ADHD, so when I get fidgety and things like that, as I'm talking and thinking, I kind of tend to move. So I'll try to be still and, profesh, but whatever. Like, it's whatever, man. So this is the book that I wrote. Secrets to can't talk. Secrets to Transformation with Morning Meditation, Your Power Within. It's pretty key. So, and I've done other stuff, and the long and short is that this year has, especially, and kind of a little bit before that even, but this year kind of had a string of events happen in my life kind of all at once that was a bit of a shit show. But I tend to be kind of a optimistic person in general, and so instead of like just sinking down to the ground and being like, oh, everything's shit, I sort of took it as a time to sort of reassess like where I was, what I was doing, why I was doing it, what made me happy, what didn't. I've been in the corporate world, in the medical device area for not quite 20 years, but like, I don't know, 17, 18, whatever. And I will never say never, especially with me. Maybe I'll go back to it, but I kind of was like, maybe I'm meant to do something else. I always felt like I should be in this certain kind of like, proverbial box, and that I needed to sort of suppress maybe other parts of myself in order to fit into what is considered successful, or what that looks like, or, accomplishing these certain things, which is cool and great. And I'm proud of the accomplishments that I've made. I was a top performer a lot. There's a lot of cool things that came from it. There's a lot of really awesome people that I met and have met, and some lifelong friends and all that good stuff. And I learned a ton. But I really kind of have suppressed like this huge part of me, which is, what I consider to be like something that, talents that God gave me that I'm just not using, or not really using to the fullest potential. And they involve, creativity and different ways of thinking that maybe, are not mainstream, and that's okay. Like, I do not expect everybody to like me or, to be interested in what I'm doing. And that's totally cool and totally fine. I feel like that whoever is supposed to hear this or read this, or, that's who it's for. And my really hope is that this and other things that I'm doing and learning and kind of slowly building into become things that can help inspire people and be positive for them, and give them, a way to have positive changes in their life. So this book it was written on purpose to be short. It's an easy read. It's a fast read because it's meant to kind of give some ways that you could implement these things into your more life without having to change it too much, because everybody's kind of short on time and has many things going on. But maybe you're a person that wants to have something that you feel like a little bit more connected and grounded to yourself, and ways to kind of improve your mind, improve your relationships, improve your work, improve your, success, and whatever that means to you. But, you don't really have, a ton of time to do that. So I do have this in paperback and on Kindle, and also my audiobook just came out, which is why I've taken a while to release everything, because I kind of wanted to have it all together before I started really marketing. And I've never done a YouTube video, so I have 0 subscribers and 0 views and whatever. And I don't know what's going to lead into what. I'm just, Texas gal, just kind of going with the flow and doing what I think I should do, and whatever that leads me is where it leads me, and whatever. This whole thing has been just me like kind of just throwing myself into stuff without really knowing what the hell is going on. And that's how this happened. I used to love to write whenever I was young, and kind of had gotten away from it. And so I started to just kind of get into the practice of, when I woke up, saying affirmations and spending some time meditating. And then I would get out my Bible, pray. And even with that, so I am not really very much a religious person. I am very much a spiritual person, though. And, you do your thing. Whatever your thing is, cool. But for me, whenever I pray, like I ask God a question, and I've always kind of used my Bible in a way sort of like maybe like old school, like a magic 8-ball, where I ask and then I will randomly open it up or kind of just like let my fingers, go to whatever page. And I mean, it's, for me anyhow, so many times it's been an exact like answer to whatever it was that I needed, or it equated to something for me somehow. And that's just my experience. And it's been really helpful for me and guiding me. And so I felt like that God has kind of pushed me into exploring this, part of myself and trying to be more vulnerable and not focusing so much on the outcome of what's going to happen and just going for it. So I went from kind of not sure what I was going to be doing and was I going to go, back into my career field, and maybe a different part of it, to, okay, I think I'm going to write a book. Okay, well, what am I going to write a book about? No freaking clue. And then it kind of led into sort of what was going on. And, well, how can I make this where it would make sense for, the majority of people that have other things going on but would kind of like to implement something to have some sort of self-improvement in their life. And then that became its own thing. And I didn't know, anything about publishing, about editing, about how to record an audiobook, about formatting, making a cover, and all those little things are a huge learning curve all on their own. But I actually really like all that kind of stuff, and I've always been really just a big nerd at heart. And so that has actually been super fun for me. And then I'm just like, okay, maybe I need to make a website. And didn't know anything about that. And then just even learning, how to, figure out the codes to make clickable links and this and that. So that's kind of been my journey. I have other things, and now here I am making a YouTube video, which I've never done that, but whatever, okay. That's what's happening. That's what I'm doing. So for those, though, that kind of been wondering why I've been like maybe a little bit more in a social hole, which isn't really like me, I just kind of have done a lot of self-searching and a lot of just about who I am and what's important to me and what maybe isn't important to me anymore. And I don't know where all this is going to lead. I do have a lot of visualizations in my head and goals and creative ideas, but, one thing at a time. I've kind of been doing this one thing at a time. But I do hope that I can inspire people and maybe make them think a little bit of a different way, in a more positive way. And I would just say, if there's something that you want to do that you're not doing, it doesn't hurt to try. The worst thing that can happen is that you fail, right? And who cares? Because you're going to learn something. Even just like the formatting of these and stuff, whatever I was turning them in, like to submit, oh my gosh, just like simple stuff. And I also have ADHD, so there's that. And I would just, I would do something and then it would get kicked back and I'm like, what the hell, why is that going? That's kind of how I learned. And just throwing stuff against the wall, figuring it out, keep doing it, trial by example, fail, do it again, and then, oh, okay, I get it. Next time this is going to go way faster. And it's funny because there have been times where I'm like, am I just going to go broke? And is this really what I should be doing? And we'll pray about it. And then there's been random people that have come into my life to help me out that I didn't really ask for help from, because, and I do talk a little bit about in this book, some of my personal experiences and who I am and maybe why I am the way I am. And I am not great about asking for help, which I'm trying to be now. Like, I'm trying to change that big time. But in general, it's like I'm one of those people, like, for instance, whenever I was moving my couch into my office, it's like this couch that's like hardcore, like sturdy, like super heavy. It's a good couch. And it was where I had measured, and I had to take off my French door of the office to even like get it in. And the French door is like a solid door with glass, so it's super freaking heavy. But instead of asking anyone for help, I was like, no, I gotta do it, you know? This is years back or whatever. And anyway, the long story short is there's like this built-in thing that's right there. And so I have to do it on this crazy angle, and this couch is like, for real, heavy, like really heavy. I've got the door off of its frame so that I can even just like barely get it in. And it got to the point where I'm like halfway through, and there's, on this other side, there's windows. So sorry about that. If I, slipped and didn't get the couch in, it would go through the window and break the window. And I was in the middle of it, and at this point where it was kind of like catty corner, I had it where I wanted, but I almost didn't have any strength left, and I had to like muster up every ounce of strength and kind of give like a corner, like run, just to get this thing up and in there. And I did get it in, and it felt good to do it. And I was like, I did that all by myself, super cool. And it is, right? But another way to think about it is, wouldn't it have been like much easier if I had just like asked somebody to help me instead of go through all that? And I came really close to having my couch go through one of my windows, which would have sucked, which didn't happen. Because I'm all about, when there's a will, there's a way. And whatever I decide I'm going to do. But, perhaps being a little more vulnerable or just putting yourself out there and asking somebody for help is not a bad thing. I did ask my bestie, Carrie, thank you. But I was done with the book. I was like not telling anybody that I was even doing it. And then after it was done and I was in the middle of trying to publish it, it's like, hey, would you read through it? And just like, if you see any edits or anything, let me know. And so thank you, Carrie, for doing that. She's been my friend forever. And then my friend Dave has been super freaking awesome. And he's the one that initially helps me set up like the beginnings of my website and kind of showed me how to do stuff so then I could kind of take it from there. And he's helped me with some other stuff too. He's been like legit awesome. And like, for instance, when the audio thing came out, Sparky, thank you so much. Like, and no, I won't say that this recording is yours, because it would have been even, way better sounding if my audiobook had been done with all your equipment. So I'm not, but I had already recorded all this stuff, and I had posted something random, and it showed like my sound program in the background, and he reached out to me, which he totally didn't have to, and gave me some tips on what I had already done, kind of how to re-edit it, and offered up some other things. It's just really freaking awesome. So I'm just saying that things like that have happened, where people I didn't even ask for help from, have come into my life. And there's been or I've been at a certain place, and I sit down next to somebody, and they're doing this thing that, is maybe different, but, with the same creative mindset. Or, my aunt who decided to change from like being a nurse at, I think, 39 to going back to school to be a doctor, and, go through all those years of stuff, at that point in life. My point is that whatever you set your mind to, you can do. And don't let people tell you otherwise. It doesn't really matter. I mean, yes, of course the end goal is important, right? And it should be. But it doesn't necessarily, matter. Like, whatever success you have is just measured on how you look at it. But if you feel accomplished in what you're doing, and you feel inspired, and you're proud of it, and you know that you came from like a good place with your heart, and you know that your intentions are to do good and to try to, maybe make the world a better place in whatever small way that can be, then you're on the right path. So I don't know who needs to hear that or whatever, but like, I could go on forever about like that kind of stuff. But that's kind of what I want to do is, put things out there that maybe inspire people to be different or to think differently. And, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice like everything about you or everything that you already do. I mean, for me, I've kind of jumped into this randomness, which is still going and flowing, and I don't know what's leading into the next thing, but I'm just going with it. But if there's something that you really want to accomplish in life that you haven't, it's never too late. Like, and I mean, I know that there are certain situations where, yeah, maybe you can't do that particular thing, right? But like, maybe you can do a different version of it. But if you feel like that there's an emptiness inside of you that is not being fed or taken care of, and you know that like you could do it or that you need to do it, then you should do it. That's all I'm saying. So this is my book. I have a website. I made my own cover. I made everything all by myself. This is all by myself. And anyway, you can get the paperback on Amazon and also Barnes & Noble. The Kindle ebook is on Amazon, and the audiobook is on audible.com or through Amazon. So I really hope that you guys will get it. You can check out my website, which I'm going to put like in the description box. It's on my YouTube description or whatever. I can't talk. Whatever. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just doing it. So also, since I don't do YouTube as far as like making videos, yeah, like, subscribe, whatever, share. I don't know. I'm just trying to get marketing out there because I've realized that if I don't start marketing, then this is going to go nowhere. So I have to do it. So please, friends and family and anyone else out there that is interested, throw me a bone.